All right, guys, excuse me. We're gonna take two. We're gonna reshoot this thing. I forgot to put my mic on. Two, I stopped talking to my wife during it and didn't get it stopped, and I can't figure out how to edit it out. So we're gonna try this again. All right. Yeah. So my original intent for this video was going to be VHF, UHF, etiquette, and a couple of tips for you for operating on those. I was over at Kent's Friday, and we're going to talk about what we're doing over there in just a second, but he asked me what the subject of the video is going to be, and I said VHF, UHF, etiquette, and I don't know why. He said, VHF, UHF, and erectile dysfunction. No, he said, name it that, everybody will watch it. No, we're not going to name it that, but that was funny. Yes, I got a plan for this video, but I'm going to add something else to it that I think needs to be said. I don't want everything we talk about in ham radio, trying to get you guys into it, and types of radios to buy, and antennas and coax and this and that, and how to operate and things like that. One thing I don't want you to forget is I don't want you to go so deep down a ham radio rabbit hole talking on antennas that you lose your social skills talking with people. All right. We'll get a little bit more about that in just a minute. But you notice that our group, the Hammerheads, when we do field day or winter field day, we don't register. We're out there to have a good time, socialize, eat, have a good meal. We usually got some non-hams out there with us. We make contacts. We take the radio and make contact, but it's not about paper chasing with us. We're there to socialize, have a good time. Kent and his wife Julia, K1ENT Kent and KF7YNZ Julia, hosted a little get-together for us over there at his shack Friday. Had pizza, beer, soft drinks, and we got a new ham, Carl, and Carl, even though it's the second take of this video, I still forgot to check your call sign. I'm sorry. WD5HKV, Jeff, and myself was there. I got a picture of us in Kent's shack. It'll be following this video. And for an hour and a half, 2 hours, we just sat around and chit-chatted, told stories, and talked a little bit of radio, but we didn't get on the radio. We actually interacted and talked and joked with each other. I think that's really important. And we're all going to start trying to make that a regular thing, and just every so often somebody will host it at their shack and have a little get-together for a little while, just to visit, and other than talking on the radio. If we talk on the radio, you know our 10-meter group, we're on here 4 nights a week. So we do talk a lot on the radio, but it's important not to lose your social skills talking with people. And this is the point I'm going to make. Every one of us that's gone to a ham club meeting, you'll notice new hams fairly quiet because they're new. They don't want to know what to say. A lot of your old hams that's been hams for a long time, older guys will get in there and they won't say a word. Or if they do say something, it's borderline awkward or possibly inappropriate. But it's because they don't talk with people face to face that much. I don't want you to lose that, all right? I went to a National Weather Service school, Skywarn school, back in the 90s where I got my tech ticket. Of course, new guy, I kept quiet in there, I was listening. But there's a bunch of old hams in there that a lot of them been doing Skywarn for a while. And this National Weather Service guy was doing his best to get the group to interact with him. Nobody asked a question, nobody to interact, put anything in. Well, we all left. The repeater lit up with all these guys that just sat in the same class I had suddenly wanting to talk about it. But they wouldn't talk about it in person. Guys, I want you to have fun with this hobby. I want you on the air. I want you on HF, VHF, whatever you want to do, whatever band, whatever mode. Get your general class. You can operate anywhere you want to. I want you into this. I want you to have fun. But don't lose your social skills. Don't let ham radio interfere with social skills. That's a big deal. Thanks again to Kent and Julia for hosting that. We all had a great time. Okay, the original subject of this video was going to be VHF, UHF, repeater, etiquette, and a couple of operating tips. I had this brought up to me as a suggestion over the last week for another video, for this video, and the guy wanted me to mention that Roger beeps aren't needed on ham repeaters, and I couldn't agree more. In fact, I don't know why manufacturers have started putting Roger beeps in VHF, UHF gear. Somebody feel free to explain that to me. I don't know. But the quickest way to get a sad ham out of the woodwork is get on a repeater with a Roger beep on. Somebody's going to say something about it. Luckily, I heard a guy the other day getting talked to about it. The guy was polite. The guy actually got a manual out and helped the guy turn his off because he didn't know how to turn it off. Sooner or later, you're going to get a sad ham out of the woodwork that's going to have a fit because you're on a repeater with a Roger beep turned on. So, I don't know what they're good for in ham radio. I really don't. This guy said sometimes he thought they're used on AM and single sideband. I've never heard one down there. My 8900's got a Roger beep. I keep it turned off. This old 261A doesn't have one that I know of. I can't find it in the menu. My first 2-meter Alenco I had 30 years ago didn't have a Roger beep. A lot of these new rigs are coming out with Roger beeps. I have no idea why. Turn it off. That's the simplest advice I can give you that will save a sad ham from coming out of the woodwork on you. All right. So you got your ticket. You ready to talk. You got a handheld or mobile radio, whatever. Don't call CQ on a repeater. That's another thing that will bring them out of the woodwork. Simply get on your local repeater, say your call sign, or say your call sign monitor, and just say KB5 MIQ monitor, just like that. All right. And if somebody's wanting to chat or somebody's listening, they'll usually run back, hey, how you doing? And they just talk a few minutes. All right. If you're mobile, if you take a trip and you program repeaters in on your trip, so you towns you go through, just say like KB5 MIQ mobile. And when you get through that town on that repeater, if somebody wants to talk, usually they'll come back. I'm going to tell you right now, there's not a lot of traffic on these repeaters anymore. And we need to be using them. We really do. Now, this is kind of a personal thing with me. I've never said anything to it about it for anybody at all. But if you're going to have a long-winded QSO with another party, and you're close enough to do it on a simplex frequency, move to a simplex frequency. Don't tie the repeater up because you got two people, got the repeater tied up for a long period of time just chit-chatting. The repeater's there for everybody to use to extend the range of mobiles and handhelds. I personally don't like to carry a long-winded conversation on a repeater. Now, a short one, that don't hurt nothing. But them guys will get on there and talk for an hour, you're just keeping the repeater tied up. I personally, I've never said anything to anybody about it. I never will, but that's just my thing. I don't like to see a repeater tied up, long-winded QSO. Unless that's the only way you can do it. It's too far apart for a simplex frequency. But that's what simplex frequency is there for. Make your contact on a repeater, say, hey, let's move to say 146.54. And have as long as you want to. Talk as long as you want. Just my opinion. Now, kerchunking a repeater. We all do it. Everybody's going to do it. Just don't continually do it. Because if you continually kerchunk a repeater without saying anything, sooner or later somebody's going to say, hey, it's working. Talk. So, don't get in the habit of just continually kerchunking a repeater. Something happened to me. And I think I may have mentioned this in an earlier video. They put a new wide coverage repeater up in our area. And when they started out, they didn't have a squelch tail on it. I'd never heard a repeater without a squelch tail. I'm sitting here in the shack programming in. I key up, let off the mic, Don't hear nothing. So I check my PL tone and everything, do it again. I don't hear nothing. I don't think I'm getting in the repeater because I don't hear a squelch kick back. Brian Loper was one of the ones that helped set it up. I didn't know he was monitoring. Ham radio cat was in my lap meowing, and about the time I keyed the mic, I let off. He said, I hear a cat meowing. I go, oh crap. Brian, this is Big Boy. This is KB5 MIQ. Man, I didn't know. I was getting into the repeater. Oh yeah, you're into it solid. I said, y'all don't have a squelch tail on it? He said, no, we're going to try it without one. Well, that didn't last very long. They put a short squelch tail on it. I kind of like having a squelch tail on them. That way you know you're in the repeater, because people did like me. They're keying up and not hearing nothing back. They didn't actually know they was actually in the repeater or not. So don't habitually kerchunk one. But I know everybody's going to do it. You know, just make sure you're in the repeater if you're programming a radio or whatever. One time don't really hurt nothing. Well, that's about all I can think of to cover on that. I'm sure I'm going to get some feedback on that. I also want to thank Kent for some AI-generated black cats. We're trying some new thumbnails out here on the videos for a little while. Guys, remember Main Trading Company in Paris, Texas. They are trying to get set up in their new place. They're open in it. They haven't got their stock back up yet. Richard's got a lot of used gear. He said in his last video, if it's not on his website, call the store and ask them for a specific thing. They might be able to tell you where they've got it or not. We're at 1625. Guys, I appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel. The picture of us at Kent's will be the first picture. Then I got a couple of slides for a upcoming Ham Fest. This is KB5 MIQ Big Boy 73.